You, Lisa.
Hey, thank you, Deborah. Yes, it's true. I'm Lisa Yapp. In case you're wondering what to do this week, there's some good things happening in town. For those people that think I'm only into the weird and the bizarre, at Limelight tomorrow is Wonder Woman herself, Linda Carter, and she's really starting to resemble Ann Miller quite a bit. Linda, it's going to be a good show. She's sure to appear, but the real thing to see is Thursday night at Limelight. Jennifer Holliday is going to be doing about a 20-minute set starting at midnight. That's for the price of admission, so you should check her out. She's great. That was a lady from Dreamgirls. And at the Cat Club tomorrow night, there's going to be the debut of a new group, which this is the first I'm hearing about, called Danger Street. And it's a compilation of rock veterans, like from Journey and King Crimson and Foreigner, and the ex-bassist with a Rumor, and the drummer from Wings. So I would really check it out. That's at the Cat Club tomorrow. Also, if you've been wondering what Jim Farrat's been up to lately, Thursday he's hosting a party for Stephen Schaefer's guest you might have seen earlier on the show from Seeing Red. That should be interesting as well. My guest tonight is terrific. She's one of the most innovative, fresh voices on radio. You've heard her, you love her. Her name is Meg Griffin. I was first introduced to her in 1980. She was a DJ on PIX, a station that she helped form with her husband, Joe from Chicago. She was recently on WNEW, and now she's a voice that we can count on hearing on WLIR. Meg, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. I've been dying to meet you for quite some time because I've been listening to you for years. And I know if anybody to ask, you're the lady, because you broke so many new records when you were doing PIX in 1980 and you were playing in the clubs, you were a forerunner. I want to ask you, how come, if New York is so trend-setting with the best restaurants, the best films, the best movies, why are the radio stations so pathetically boring?
Poor girl. And so many people, I'm sure, feel the same way. I don't know. I think New York has always had this reputation of being a trendsetter, especially to do with the arts, not just in rock and roll and in radio, but in theater, etc. And when you stop and think about it, often what happens is things really are tested in all the other markets all over the country before most people in New York will go out on a limb or go out and play them anyway once they become a hit. When we were at PIX, as you mentioned before, we were one of the stations that would go out on a limb with something that hadn't yet been proven because we had a heart and gut feeling about something and believed in it and would give it a chance. The problem there was that we were maybe only a year ahead of our time. With all the bands that we were trying to break and did break, now they're all over the place on the radio on almost every format. Police, Joe Jackson, you know.
Right, it was a new wave station for people out there that weren't hip to it. And
we were anybody that I think that's ever gone through being a little ahead of their time.
Well, is that what you contribute to it? Because it was a popular station. I know that you predated K-Rock. You were one of the first new wave format, maybe even the first new wave format radio station. And now WLIR is doing it, and it has some success.
Yes.
You just say the time was wrong?
Well, the time, with PIX, the time was a problem because we were, as I said, ahead of our time. We were loved by critics and the audience. The ratings were going up and ahead, but so slowly that the corporate world, i.e. our owners, wouldn't be patient enough to wait for it, which is always the case in radio. If you listen, you put on a format, you'll hear it, and if you like it, all of a sudden within about 2 months it disappears. And it's because even if it had an upward trend with ratings and dollars, etc., if that ratings rise is not fast enough for the owners, they won't wait. They won't develop it and nurture it like you would a child.
What's it like for you, though? Because you are talent. People don't realize that you're radio talent. And what's it like for you with the pressure of the ratings?
I tried, I don't know if everybody that I've worked with is like this, I tried not to think about that too much. What pressured me more was when I would have to go on the air and do something or play something that I didn't really believe in. Most of the time the people in the audience aim their hatred of what you might play if they don't like it at you.
Like Journey, you're talking about Journey, you know, or something like that.
What they don't realize is often, you know, disc jockeys are taking directives from the people above them.
How much freedom do you have to play around? I mean, if you find a band you like, can you help break a band in the market, play it once an hour or something?
When I first got into the business, it was the last years of FM being free form. And it was now when I think back on it, you know, checks were bouncing, no money was to be made, studios were falling apart while you were on the air. But the freedom that you had back then was what made everything worth it. Now it's to a point where the freedom at most stations is gone, but I must say at LIR, where I'm working, they are known and appreciated and recognized for the fact that they will still find something that is not signed to a major label, but because the song is good, which to me is what radio should always have been about and continue to be. If the song is good, play it. No. You know, not because it has a lot of money in back of it. Yeah,
it should be, but it isn't like that. Would you say that, would you personally take any group that you did help break, maybe in this market, in your experience?
When I worked at NEW, I had a thing called Prisoners of Rock and Roll, and it meant prisoners in the fact of being unreleased, not on a major record label.
Right, you're doing the shows at the Bottom Line at the time?
Yeah, and that included Missing Persons, Marshall Crenshaw.
Terrific.
Robert Hazard. You know, some people that have gone on now and done better. Cyndi Lauper, as well, was somebody who, in the band that she was in before being on her own now, Blue Angel, we heavily supported, and it's great when you get to that point where you see something you believe in. Do you find that these people
appreciate your effort, or they just sort of
they
use
always
you for what you're worth?
True rock and roll people who feel it from here, and which is the only way that I can operate, never forget emotionally what happened that was good.
Yeah, or and what's bad, probably, for that matter, too.
Or what's bad, absolutely.
Most unforgiving bunch of people you never want to meet.
Grudges.
Have you ever had a fan go haywire on you?
Yes, and in both directions, yeah.
Can you tell us about
it? With the good ones, the hardest part of having people that really believed in you totally, they get to the point sometimes, if they're really fanatic, that you become a god, in a sense, to them. And if you're put in that position as a person, it's hard because you feel like, well, I'm not a god, I'm a person, and if I ever let you down, if all of a sudden what you think I am falls short of it, then where am I in your opinion?
That could be dangerous.
Yeah. And on the other end, you know, you just have strange people out there who decide because of your voice they're marrying you next month, and why didn't you show up for the ceremony?
Now, what's your husband, Joe from Chicago, doing?
He's on the air at WPLR in New Haven. He's just as insane as anybody might remember him from the past. He's teaching. He's a student. He's producing syndicated radio shows.
Oh, great!
And he's driving his brand new hot Berlinetta that has a dashboard that looks like a video game. So he will soon be arrested.
Now, do you think that it's easier for women now in radio than it was? I mean, at the beginning, when you first started, you were one of the first women, weren't you? I mean, it was Max Ann, and then afterwards you were the second wave, more or less?
In New York, Allison Steele, too.
Allison Steele. He was the second wave of women. Is it easier now, you think, than it was for Allison?
When somebody like Allison came in, it was difficult. If you were the woman, you were the one who took all of the grievances from everyone else on the staff, and it was your fault. She really was a pioneer. When I came along, it was easier because stations were tending to look a little bit more for women, but still I find to this day, except again where I'm working right now, it's not that way at WLIR. They have several women. Usually still it's tokenism.
Yeah.
One, on at night, sounds sexy and alluring. You know, don't be a person and an equal to the males. No. Definitely be a female.
Very
and my
few
approach
female
is always
comedian
be a person.
type DJs. I mean, I can't think of one that's really funny and bubbly. I mean, they just don't have them. They do have the sexy voice.
There are, you know, I mean, I find if whatever you feel that you are and feel strongly about, whether you're male or female or whatever, and that's the way I've always taken it, just go out and do it, and if you believe in it, even if you get fired for it, you'll feel good for it because you did what you thought was right. So fire me. That means I'm good, you know, if that's what you believed in.
Well, we don't want to leave on this note. Meg begging
Let's
to
all
be
get fired.
But unfortunately, we're almost out of time. So I want to thank you. Meg Griffin from WLIR has been my guest tonight. Meg, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And keep watching the show. Hi, good night. Yes, it's true. I'm Lisa Yapp. And for you artists out there that have been trying to get a record or get on a cassette or something, let me tell you that Goldmine and Roar Records, which is, of course, as you probably know, not a record company at all, but they put out their records on cassette, is going to be having a compilation recording coming out at the end of April for garage bands. So if you think you qualify and you've got a real nitty-gritty sound, that send a copy of your cassette to Roar. And I think you'll be very impressed with the result because they do good things. Now, my guest tonight that I have here is Brian Damage. And you might know him, in fact, from his work on Roar Records. He was the concept person behind Shockslamania, one of them anyway, one of the key instrumental people. And besides that, if you don't know him from Shockslamania, maybe you know him from these sneakers that made it for quite a long time. at Fiorucci, and were very popular. Everyone's seen them, and they were quite a rush. Brian, it's really nice having you here. I want to ask you one thing, though. You do everything, all right? I know you work. You design in the clubs, you design clothes, jewelry, you name it. But who are you really? I mean, how do I cubbyhole you? I mean, how do I describe you?
I would describe myself as an artist.
Yeah, but artists don't make money, and you seem to, Brian.
I seem to make money, and actually the money I make is, I mean, you can't really...
So what are you into, the glamour? Because here you were, let's not beat around the bush, here you were, he was the in-house designer at Danceteria. The man had the whole, the 4th floor for a while, or the 5th floor, I guess, before you get to the roof. It was his entire studio. There's a lot of glamour associated with that, Brian. What were some of the things you did at Danceteria?
Well, I did decorations for parties and for Halloween, and I did New Year's 2 years ago and decorated the entire place in spandex, so it looked like Fantastic Voyage, like you were going through somebody's arteries or something, and different things at different times.
I think that Brian Damage is being extremely humble tonight, but let me tell you who he is. He's an extremely unique conceptual artist that is responsible for half the things that we define as the downtown scene and the new wave and art kind of expression of that scene. And as a matter of fact, you brought a video tonight for something called Mermaids on Heroin. Can you tell us about what that is?
Mermaids on Heroin is an epic rock odyssey. It's a story of, it's done in a comic strip sort of fashion. It's the story of Basil St. John. Basil St. John is traveling up the Amazon.
Well, let's see the video as we're talking about it.
Okay.
Because I know that they have that in the studio, and you wrote the music for this as well, right?
Well, not really the music. I wrote, the story was written by Joey Arias and myself, and the music, this section that we're seeing here is the entrance of the Mermaids. The Mermaids are the keepers of a flower called the black orchid. The black orchid is a panacea for all the ills of civilization.
In other words, this doesn't mean anything. It's not a morality piece. It's just...
Well, it is. The bottom line of Mermaids comes down to the struggle between the constant struggle between good and evil in all dimensions. Mermaids on Heroin travels dimensions. It shatters the boundaries of existence.
Now, there's a big production planned on this, right? It went before, went to Danceteria, you did Pyramid Mermaids on Heroin. What's next for the show?
Well, we're doing a short installment of it at Danceteria on March 2nd. And then we're planning, it is in the works for a real grand, huge, long version of it at the Ritz sometime in the beginning of April. Okay.
Now, what I want to know, what I'd like to know is that you have your own philosophy. You have your own philosophy of something that you've been working and developing, which you phrase as ambient environment or ambient entertainment. What is this? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, ambient entertainment is when you go out to a nightclub. These are ambient entertainment.
Sure, they're fabulous.
Okay, last year I ran with Maurice Engler here.
You might know him from Danceteria. He's really instrumental at Danceteria.
And Michaela, of course. Who were two of my dancers and worked with me. I ran the Go-Go show at Danceteria on Fridays and Saturdays. It was called the Go-Go Corps de Ballet, and it was a Go-Go Ballet show.
And the room was packed.
And the room was packed, and we had stages surrounding the room with sets on each stage with dancers in costumes, and the dancers and the sets had nothing to do with what was going on in the room whatsoever. A lot of times the dancers didn't even dance to the music. They were lost in it. Somebody would be performing that he would be lost in a desert, and there were monsters chasing him, and these monsters could fly and
are you trying to say that the stuff you do is for a largely like drug-induced audience, Brian? Sounds like a little far-fetched, like fantasy.
No, it's
here.
fantasy. But it's not necessarily drug-induced.
Now you're taking this Go-Go show a little further. From what I gather, I see that you're doing something at Danceteria coming up, and then at the Pyramid too. What is this on Wednesday?
Pyramid this Wednesday, I'm doing People as Machines. Bobby, who has started the There's a serial coming up. The theme is is industry and the wheels of industry, and I'm doing go-go dancers in costumes as machines.
This is the Industrial Damage Show, I should mention.
Yeah, the Industrial Damage Show.
Would you say, Brian, that is my last question for you tonight?
Wednesday.
This Wednesday at the Pyramid Club. Now, for my last question for you tonight, would you say that for designers out there that are struggling and that are trying to make waitering, the best...
And yeah, you just have to be persevering. Get a band. Work with a band. You know, give everything you can to a band. You know, give them costumes.
But you're out there. Thousands of people see you. Have you been ripped off?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt anymore?
Not anymore. Because now, Trump Towers ripped me off? I didn't know about that. No, it doesn't hurt me anymore because I know that I have like a lot more things up my sleeve now, and
the future's yours.
Yeah.
I know you're at Fiorucci, and I know these shows. Just once again, look for the Go-Go Corps de Ballet at Danceteria, and this Wednesday especially at Pyramid. The Industrial Damage, it's a special. Brian's only there this week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Really check it out. I want to thank Maurice and Michaela for being here and helping you. Thank you, Brian, for coming on the show. And until next time, good night.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes, hi. Hi again, I'm Lisa Yapp. Tonight I have a real scoop for you. A friend of mine in the city, Chosei Funahara, who used to play the bass for a band called the Plasmatics. In fact, he was one of the original people behind that conception. Just directed a video for a band that's considered to be the hottest band in Japan. Frankly, I think they're a little derivative of a lot of US bands, but it's a rough edit, and I wanted you to see it tonight. The band is called RC Succession, so let's see a song. Take it away.
Not Jim. No, that's it.
So that's just a little bit. They're still working on the edit, but I thought you'd be interested in seeing it before they ship it off to Japan, and then we don't see it anymore at all. My guest for the evening, I have a great guest. It's Gabrielle Lafar. She's a very famous German actress. In fact, she's right now in a movie at the Plaza Theater on 58th Street in Madison. It's called A Woman in Flames. And I'm very happy to have you here, Gabrielle.
Very happy to be here. Good evening.
Listen, I've been looking over some of your credits, and I see that you've been in 4 films already for this director, Robert Van Ackeren.
Well, he discovered me.
Tell us about that. Are you part of his theatrical family or what?
Well, he has not a theatrical family like Fassbinder, but he discovered me when I was 17, and he was thinking I'm talented. And
well, this sounds like something you discovered you socially, or he discovered you professionally,
No,
Gabrielle?
he discovered me professionally. I was an extra on a television show, young, 17, and he believed he could make me into an actress. I didn't believe it at the time. I didn't know. It was not in my mind.
Now, you didn't take acting?
At the time, I didn't know. I was still in school.
Now, his films are so weird. I mean, is it me, or is it because I'm American and maybe I'm stodgy in my ways, or is the man a sicko? I mean, you were in his Hollis film. What was that? Two lesbian cabaret performers?
Well, do you think that's so unusual that women who were performing in a cabaret happen to be lesbians? I don't think it's unusual. Maybe here? No, this is New York. Come on.
I wouldn't have thought it was so unusual if you hadn't followed it up by this last one, this Woman in Flames, where you play a real tough, hardcore hooker who is training a dominatrix.
Well, wait a minute. Fonda's daughter, Jane Fonda, played in Clue, the hooker. I think it's a pretty...
Well, you play it very well.
So did Jane Fonda.
So you wouldn't say that he's a cult director?
No, he's a commercial director.
Yes. Well, let's see a little bit of that clip. Are we all queued up, just so that people get an idea? This is A Woman in Flames with Gabrielle Lafar. And what is the lead? What's her name? I forget. It's hard for me to say.
Gudrun Landgräbe and Mathieu Carrère.
Yeah, let's see this. Let's see this clip. They pushed it too far. They missed you. They catch it. Weird or what? I asked you.
Well, this is the end of the movie, yes? After he set her on flames, or flambéed her.
Yes, he flambéed this woman with vodka.
Right.
But what is the point of this film? I mean, I'm not usually into European films. What was the point they're trying to make? I mean, everybody's a hooker, the man, the girl. And what is it?
Well, it's just, he calls it a love story that happened to be in this kind of environment. I call it the Carmen syndrome. Kill the woman that doesn't want to do what you want to do.
Yeah, but do you think that that people, if you start doing these kind of films, like this is your reputation, you're sort of a sex vamp, right, in Germany. I mean, do you think that...
Femme fatale is the
femme
word.
fatale, right? do you think that that it's like marred your personal life, that in some way maybe it's scarred your soul in some way, so that you know, you can't get married, or people react to you in a stodgy kind of way?
No, I don't think so. I think you get sort of hooked or trapped in an image that, you know, somebody thinks you're good at that, and forever you play similar roles. I mean, I played maids, come on, you know. I haven't played a mother yet, and I think I would really like to play futuristic stories, something scientific or so.
Now, you live both here and in Germany, right?
Yes,
Back
that's
and
right.
forth. Tell us about that documentary you were telling me about before, that they did a documentary of you here.
Oh,
your
yes.
experiences as a German actor.
Yes, yes. 76 or so, I did a little cabaret. I sang Marlene Dietrich's song and Sally Anders songs, and German television did a series on German actresses in America. And it was, unfortunately, it was finished already when they started to shoot, and they said, well, repeat it, can you just do it once for us? And I said, give me some time. And I know Debbie Harry at the time, who hadn't made an album yet and wasn't famous as Blondie, and I asked her to help me to do these songs. And so through me, she was first time on German television with me. And we looked very much alike at the same time. At that time, I was dark, she was blonde, and she became a famous singer, and I'm
And you went on to do a movie called Blondie's Number One, the star.
Before even that. Before I did that.
Now, when you work in German, you speak in German roles. You're speaking German.
Sure.
What's it like for you when you come to this country? You see the subtitles all in English. I mean, are we close or what?
Well, unfortunately, with Woman in Flames, I would say they shortened the titles tremendously, and I think they're doing this because it's easier and faster to read. You know, German is a very intricate language, and if you really translate it the way it is spoken, then you have enormous subtitles, and people want to see the movie. They don't want to read all the time, or they have to see it twice.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, that's one of the reasons, but a lot of it gets lost.
As far as being an actress, what's better for you, being an actress in Germany or being one here?
Oh, I like it both. Yes, I like to speak both languages.
But are you treated differently as a talent here than?
Yeah, Yes, yes.
I mean, what's the respect factor? Because I always thought actors in this country especially were abused a lot.
The respect is much better in Germany. Of course, there's less, and the competition isn't so great. And you are known much faster. I mean, you do one thing and you're known, and people will remember you for a long time. Where here, you can do something, and next year you're forgotten, and you have to start all over again. And it's not like that. I mean, my career is 15 years old.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yes.
And you started when you were 17.
Yeah. That's right.
Figure that out. Now, are you going back to Germany soon for another project?
Yes, I probably will be playing Jenny in Threepenny Opera in autumn in Berlin.
Oh, great, great. The Pirate Jenny?
The Pirate Jenny.
And that's going to be in German?
It's going to be in German.
Oh, wow. We have a video of that. You have to send it to us so we can show it on the show. Who would you predict is going to emerge as like the next German director now that Fassbender is no longer
Well, I hope
on the scene?
Mr. von Ackern will be it. There are a lot of good German directors. I mean...
Did you have a falling out with him at some point? Is that a rumor I heard? Or, I mean, can you tell us about it now?
Well, yes, I did, because he was angry at me that I fell in love with an American man, and I disappeared for a couple of years. And... didn't think about my career or the way that he wanted me in his life or in his career life.
This is right when you were a star.
Well, it was after the first leading role in one of his films, yes, that I left. And so it took some years for us to get together again. And for me to decide that I do want to act and be an actress. And at the time, I had my doubts.
Well, let me just ask you a quick question before, as we're almost running out of time here, but did you like this movie, A Woman in Flame?
Well, it's very hard to say if you like a finished product when you're doing it or done it, because you always see it in parts, and you lose perspective in a way, even afterwards. And they cut it. The editing is different. I mean, I did not know it would come out this way. I think it's okay.
Well, Gabrielle, Lafar, I want to thank you for coming here. I want to urge everyone to go see A Woman in Films. I know Paul Tabley, who we'll be seeing later in the show, thought it had a lot to say about human sexuality. I thought it was... Well, I won't tell you what I thought. Go and see for yourself. Gabrielle, thanks for coming on the show. Till next time.
Good night.
Lisa Yapp, good night.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. What is your opinion?